Bubba said one of the last times I saw him, he said, "Guess what? I ran into Otis
Pushing
out."
up daisies, that's means you're buried. You're pushing up daisies from underneath. She never heard that expression.
No. He said, my brother ran into Otis.
Whose alarm Otis. There? Somebody's medicine. That's yours.
Yeah, anyway.
See your iPad, Mother?
I took it.
No, I mean, is it still flashing? Or?
Yeah, take my medicine.
There you go.
Anyway.
Very impressed, you can tell.
Now I can't remember what I was going to say.
So he was going to take you flying, but he didn't take you.
Yeah, he couldn't, but what happened? There's something about him. I know it's
Baba.
Baba never wanted anything to do with airplanes.
Well, anyway,
Otis.
Otis.
I was dating Otis the same time I was dating Clyde. But what happened, Otis went off to California for flight school. Clyde was still in college. He hadn't started flying yet. And so I was dating Clyde, and he was writing me letters and all. And Otis, when he left to go to California, we were just smooch, and everything, goodbye. And so he called me from California, and he was going to go to South America, I think. He flew big planes, he didn't fly fighters. And I don't know, but that was the worst thing I ever did in my life. He called me, and I was in the movie theater, and my mother told the operator, said she isn't here, but she's at the movies. So I guess Otis told him to call the theater, and a girlfriend of mine was working in the ticket office. So she comes down to get me out of the movie to talk to Otis, and Clyde and I had just gotten married.
Oh.
And so Otis says, "Hello, this is," and I said, "Who is this?" or something. He said, "Otis," and I said, "Otis who?"
With the
They
name.
never forget.
How many people named
Everybody
Otis?
heard that, yeah. Everybody heard that I said that, and somebody would see me on the street and say, "Otis who?"
Yeah, that is pretty funny, actually.
It was
Otis
terrible.
who?
That's the worst thing I could have done to anybody.
You were shocked.
But my brother saw Otis not before he died. They were both real old,
Yeah.
And he said, "Hey, Otis." And they were chatting, and Bubba told me, he said, "And I told Otis, my sister sure had a crush on you back in school."
Yeah.
And I did. I said, "You didn't tell him that?" He said, "Yeah, I did. I told him you had a crush on him."
You got to remember, her town only had 2,500 people, right?
Really?
I don't know,
Yeah.
but Otis didn't live.
Well, when I was a kid, I remember it had 2,500.
He lived in another town close by, but he went to school. Went to high school.
Well, my point was that's the kind of environment she lived in.
Small town.
And
She grew up in Manila, or at least
but I think
not grew up in
everybody-
Manila, but I mean, you lived in
I
a
think
town that was much
everybody in my
more.
high school class went to college except me.
Really, huh?
Because
That's hard to believe,
what
really.
happened
Wouldn't
is,
some of them have been
I went over,
loggers
I'll
and
show you
laborers?
I'll show you I got someone sent me on. There was this boy at home that was the nicest thing. He used to send me everything. If I was his wife, I wouldn't be able to resent it. But he wrote me the nicest letters, and finally we'd get to where I'd have to call him about something, or he'd call me, and he knew all the history of everything that happened in Woodville, and somebody told me, or I guess maybe he told me, that there's a girl at home called Marthel Anglin, rice singer. She married a rice singer. And he said she had a whole bunch of pictures and things of me when I was Dogwood Queen. And that he had seen them and all. And I thought about calling her and asking her what she has. I don't know what all. Because a lot of my things got lost. The picture that they had that they put in the newspaper, that just finally fell apart. They'd used it so much, The original picture.
I'm sure there's microfilm of the newspaper. There's pictures.
I've got the newspaper print, but when what they did was the ladies put the robe on me and took my picture. It had 100 dogwoods on it, blossoms, and that's the picture I'm talking about.
I think I've seen that. I think I saw that.
Yeah.
But I mean, all you gotta do is take a picture of it or see a digital picture of it on the website of probably the Tyler County News or whatever.
I traced it down to get the original little snapshot.
Yeah.
And I went to the pharmacy down by the hospital. The guy there had it, but I don't know what's happened to it now.
Yeah.
And Doug Kennison, who is now dead, also had the movie of me. That's somewhere.
Movie?
Of me coming down the steps at night.
You're kidding.
And it was back in the days where movie cameras.
I was going to say, I didn't know
that.
Night.
And I was dating this boy from Beaumont that his dad owned all the theaters in West Texas and East Texas. And so they told me to ask Bruce if his dad might possibly have a spotlight we could use. So sure enough, he brought us a spotlight, and they put it on me as I was going down the steps that night with my, gown on and all that business. When they crowned me queen, I was the first queen.
Right.
So everything was new. All the stuff we were doing.
Right, brand new.
They built the amphitheater. They built.
Who decided to even do such a thing? Who said, "Oh, I think we should have a queen of a dogwood thing"?
And my daddy and Mr. Wheat. Some of the daddy was county. He was also city commissioner, county commissioner. They were always dreaming up stuff for publicity.
So it's kind of a publicity thing.
Yeah, to draw people into East Texas. They built Daddy built the amphitheater.
I've stood in it. You weren't there.
His equipment. And
when we went to Bubba's funeral, we went over to see that.
You guys went everywhere.
Yeah, I have video. I think I have video of that or
and
pictures.
that night, then the next year I was princess of Tyler County. Queen the year before, but they
were you 17? How old were you when you were queen?
About 16.
16. Oh, so
when I went, they wanted me to be in it the next year.
Well, this is a dogwood queen. You don't know what the age things are.
And then they made princess. But I was going to tell you, my escort
you have to be
was Dan Rawls, and normally you go to the ball. They have a big ball after the thing. You go to the ball with your escort,
Yeah.
But that's the night that Bill brought Daddy home.
Oh, yeah.
And he had written me and asked me would I take Clyde to the ball or be his date, because he said, Priss, I've been
doesn't have a date or
I
something.
don't know anybody, and you can introduce him.
But you hadn't seen his picture or anything, right? Yeah. You didn't know he had
my boss
You didn't know he had gigantic ears.
No, my boss.
Daddy.
My boss.
He was so skinny, he's just as thin as a rail.
My boss called me up and said, "Boy, I met your
so
date." Said he's just across the street, the Penningtons, and said he's really nice. He does have freckles and red hair, but he's
red
nice.
hair. He didn't have red hair.
I know that's my boss.
Oh, he was being facetious.
Yeah, he called me up. Can you imagine?
That would be Kelly, red hair and freckles.
Yeah.
I was dressing to get ready for the date, and so then Bill and Clyde rode over on horses.
On horses.
And called me out on the porch.
Were they in uniform or something?
Huh?
Were they in uniform?
No, Bill had horses.
Because they were going to University
they were in
Texas
the cavalry school.
Cavalry, they were in the cavalry. Cavalry.
It's
Cavalry.
hard to say. I get mixed up.
I know, cavalry is horses, cavalry is when you die. Cavalry.
But anyway, so they came over and he introduced him. They were on horses.
Did you think he was attractive at all or anything? Or do you think he's cute?
Just a guy with black hair.
And big ears.
I was dating Bruce.
Did you think he was skinny?
Yeah, kind of.
Well, of course, everybody was skinny in those days. Yeah, Bruce was skinny too. They're all skinny in those days. We're all fat now.
Well, they don't have fast food.
Bruce,
no McDonald's.
Bruce had driven all the way up to Beaumont.
No In-N-Out burger. Speaking of which,
55. Bruce had driven 55 miles to go to the ball with me.
Yeah.
And when I told him that I couldn't go to the ball with him, I had to go to this guy.
Now you're talking about, who is this, Bruce?
Bruce, this guy I was dating from Beaumont.
Yeah.
And he lived in Beaumont, and he had talked to his mother. They had a lake house in
But Bill Pennington introduced you to Daddy,
Yeah.
not Bruce.
He was his roommate.
Yeah, Bill. Yeah.
Bruce is the guy I was dating, so I
Oh,
told
okay.
Bruce, I said, oh, don't worry, I won't even look at him. We're just going dancing.
Oh, really?
You know,
Yeah.
I said, I'm just some guy, you know.
Right, doing a
And I
favor
said,
for Bill.
Yeah, I promised my cousin, he wrote me a
Yeah,
letter.
poor Bill.
I still have the letter Bill wrote me and described Clyde to me. He asked me to go with him to take him to
Do you
the
think
mall.
he was setting you up, or do you think he just
No,
wanted to?
he was-
You just wanted a date for his friend.
Bill had been gone for 3 years to college, and he wanted to bring, Clyde's dad had died, and suddenly with a heart attack.
Right.
And when he wrote me, and when he talked to me, he said, he just can't seem to get over it. He said,
Yeah, that was
shake
a
out
big
of it.
deal.
He said, you know, he was an only child, and he was real close to his dad.
Yeah, he worshipped his dad.
Closer to his dad than his mother, I think. And so he said, I'm going to bring him home. As you know, they had 5 Pennington boys, this huge house. And
Yeah.
so he said, so I'm going to bring him home. And he said, Priss, I don't know anybody anymore or anything. Would you go to the mall with him?
Right.
That way you can introduce him to everyone.
Right, yeah.
And I really didn't want to go with him. But
Right,
I
right.
adore Bill.
Yeah.
And I just could not. I
That's her
loved the
cousin.
whole
That was her
Pennington boys.
first cousin, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just, the Pennington boys were so good to me growing up, and all better than my brother.
Now,
They're-
sorry, but I get Bobby and Bill confused.
They're
Bob.
brothers.
So wait a minute. Bill was Bobby's son, right?
Bobby was the dad.
The one I knew, right?
Yeah.
Had the nose removed and
But
cancer.
there was also a son, Bobby, that my age.
Oh, but this one that introduced you to Daddy was Bobby.
Bill.
Bobby, the one son. It was his son, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to
He
be
had
sure.
5
Sorry.
boys.
I adored this Bobby. He was so sweet. I don't know why I latched onto him, but he had cancer of the nose or something, right? And he had his
He
nose
started
removed.
with just a little itch.
Yeah. And he had his nose removed.
He went
And
to
for some reason, I
Anderson
actually
Clinic. I
sort
even
of
rode
liked
with him
this guy.
once